A disabled girl's dream vacation turned into a nightmare when a power-hungry flight attendant kicked her off the plane. Tears streamed down her face as passengers watched in horror. But wait for it, just 5 minutes later the Karen got fired on the spot. Sweet revenge. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more Karen stories. My heart was racing as I held my daughter Zara's hand. Today was a big day for us. After months of saving, we were going to visit my parents. They hadn't seen Zara since her accident last year. Are you excited to see Grandma and Grandpa? I asked, smiling at my 10-year-old daughter. Zara nodded, her eyes bright with excitement. The wheelchair she now used made traveling hard, but she never complained. That was just Zara, always brave. We arrived at the airport 3 hours early. As a single dad with a special needs child, I learned to plan ahead. Zara needed her wheelchair most of the time. We had all the right papers for her medical equipment and had called the airline to arrange special boarding. At the check-in counter, I noticed a woman with blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. Her name tag read Patricia. "Good morning," I said politely. "I'm John Miller and this is my daughter Zara. We have seats on Flight 302 to San Francisco." Patricia barely looked up. "ID and boarding passes, please." I handed over our documents and explained about Zara's wheelchair. "We need to gate check it and we'll need help boarding." Patricia frowned. "There's no note about a wheelchair here." "That's strange," I said. "I spoke with customer service yesterday and they said everything was arranged." "Well, it's not in the system," she said sharply. "And we're full today. A wheelchair takes up extra space we don't have." I felt my face get hot. My daughter needs her wheelchair. We can't travel without it. Patricia looked at Zara, then back at me. "She doesn't look disabled to me. Can't she walk at all?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Zara squeezed my hand and I could see tears in her eyes. "Yes, she can walk short distances with help, but she needs her wheelchair for anything longer. She has mobility issues from a car accident." Patricia rolled her eyes. "Everyone has a story these days. I see it all the time, people claiming disabilities just to get special treatment." The line behind us was growing. Zara was looking down, trying not to cry. "I'd like to speak to your manager, please," I said firmly. "He's busy," Patricia snapped. "Look, if you want to board this flight, you'll need to check that wheelchair with regular baggage. Or you can take another flight tomorrow." An older man behind us stepped forward. "Excuse me, but I couldn't help overhearing. This is unacceptable. This young lady clearly needs her wheelchair." Patricia's face hardened. "Sir, please wait your turn. I'm a retired doctor," the man continued, "and your treatment of this family is appalling. I want to speak to your supervisor immediately." More people in line began to agree. Patricia's face turned red, but she didn't back down. "Fine," she said coldly. "Wait here." She went to a back office and returned with an older man in a suit. "I'm Tom Rodriguez, the station manager," he said. "What's the problem?" I explained the situation calmly. Tom listened, then turned to Patricia. "We always accommodate passengers with disabilities. It's not only airline policy but federal law." He looked at her sternly. "Please process their check-in properly and arrange for early boarding." Patricia's lips tightened. "Yes, sir," she said, clearly unhappy. Tom turned to us with a kind smile. "I apologize for the inconvenience. We'll make sure you and your daughter are taken care of." As Tom walked away, Patricia processed our boarding passes without looking at us. "Gate 14, she said. "Boarding starts in an hour." We went through security and to our gate without more problems. Zara was quiet, but I could tell she was upset. "Don't worry about that lady," I told her. "Some people just don't understand." When boarding time came, we were called first as promised. The gate agent was friendly and helpful with Zara's wheelchair. We made our way down to the plane and I helped Zara to our seats in the front row. I got her settled by the window so she could look out at the planes. Just as we were getting comfortable, I heard a familiar voice. To my shock, Patricia was boarding the plane in a flight attendant uniform. She had finished her shift at check-in and was now working our flight. When she saw us, her eyes narrowed and she came straight over. "Excuse me," she said loudly, "there's a problem with your seating." "What problem?" I asked. "These seats were assigned for my daughter's disability needs." Patricia shook her head. "These seats are for passengers who can help in an emergency. Your daughter clearly can't help in an evacuation." "That's not how it works," I tried to explain. "These seats were given to us because of her disability, not despite it." Patricia's voice got louder, making other passengers look. "Sir, I'm the head flight attendant, and I'm telling you that your daughter cannot sit in this row. This isn't even an exit row, I pointed out. This is the bulkhead row for passengers with disabilities. Patricia ignored this fact. Sir, if you keep arguing, I'll have to ask you both to leave the plane. Zara tugged my sleeve. Dad, she whispered, everyone's looking at us. Several passengers were watching. Some were filming with their phones. This is ridiculous, I said. I want to speak to the captain. The captain backs my decisions on passenger safety, Patricia said coldly. Now you have two options. Move to the back of the plane without accommodations for your daughter, or get off immediately. Those aren't acceptable options, I replied. My daughter needs. Before I could finish, Patricia called out, Security. An airport security officer approached us. What's the problem? He asked. Patricia quickly spoke up. These passengers won't follow safety rules and are being disruptive. That's not true, I protested. We were given these seats for my daughter's disability needs, and this flight attendant is discriminating against us. The officer looked uncertain, glancing between us. Sir, he said finally, I think it's best if you and your daughter get off while this is sorted out. I couldn't believe it. Are you serious? You're kicking us off because my daughter has a disability? Several passengers began to protest. This is discrimination, called out an elderly woman. I'm a lawyer and this violates the Air Carrier Access Act, said a man in a suit. But Patricia stood firm. For safety reasons, they must leave. The officer gestured toward the exit. Sir, please. We can talk about this in the terminal. Tears ran down Zara's face as I helped her back into her wheelchair. As we were escorted off, several passengers expressed their outrage, some even standing to leave with us. This isn't right, shouted one man. I'm filing a complaint, called another. In the terminal, I immediately asked for the airline's manager. A crowd formed, passengers who had gotten off in protest, gate agents and onlookers. Soon Tom Rodriguez arrived looking alarmed. Mr. Miller, what happened? I thought everything was arranged. Through my anger, I explained what had happened. Tom's face darkened as he listened. This is completely unacceptable, he said firmly. I personally approved your seating, and there is no safety rule that would prevent your daughter from sitting there. He called for the captain, who arrived moments later. After a brief talk, the captain looked horrified. I never authorized removing passengers for such a reason, he said. This was done without my knowledge. Tom turned to us. Mr. Miller, we sincerely apologize. If you're willing, we'd like to get you both back on the flight right now. I looked at Zara, whose face was still wet with tears. What do you think, sweetie? Do you still want to go see Grandma and Grandpa? Zara nodded bravely. Yes, but I don't want to see that mean lady again. You won't have to, Tom promised, kneeling to her level. Patricia is being removed from the flight right now. Through the terminal windows, we could see Patricia being escorted off the plane, her face red with anger. Tom personally walked us back onto the plane. As we boarded, the passengers applauded. The elderly woman who had spoken up reached out and squeezed Zara's hand. You're a brave young lady, she said warmly. A different flight attendant, an older woman named Sarah, came over as soon as we were settled. I want to personally apologize, she said. That was completely unacceptable. Sarah made sure we were comfortable, bringing Zara a special snack and hot chocolate. Through the window, we could see Tom and Patricia in a serious conversation near the terminal. The flight left 30 minutes late, but no one minded. The atmosphere was friendly, with passengers stopping by to offer kind words to Zara. When we landed in San Francisco, Sarah helped us off first and made sure Zara's wheelchair was waiting. As we exited, I saw Tom Rodriguez in the terminal. Mr. Miller, he said, catching up to us, I wanted to update you about Patricia. I appreciate how quickly you handled the situation, I said. Tom's expression was serious. Patricia has been fired, and we've placed a permanent mark in her record that will prevent her from working in the airline industry again. That was fast, I said, surprised. We have zero tolerance for discrimination, Tom explained. After reviewing the videos passengers recorded, along with her history of complaints, the airline had no choice but to terminate her immediately. He lowered his voice. She's also facing a $25,000 fine under the Air Carrier Access Act for discrimination. The Department of Transportation takes these violations very seriously. He knelt down to Zara's level. I'm sorry about what happened. Most people aren't like that, and you should never feel less important because of your disability. That mean woman won't be able to hurt anyone else now. Zara smiled shyly. Thank you. Tom handed me an envelope. We'd like to offer you 2 free round-trip tickets to anywhere we fly, plus first-class upgrade for your return flight. I was touched. Thank you. That's very generous. Our legal department also wants to speak with you about compensation for the distress you experienced, he added, giving me a business card. I wasn't planning to sue, I admitted. Tom nodded. The airline wants to take responsibility. It's the right thing to do. My parents were waiting outside. Mom cried when she saw Zara rushing to hug her. Oh, my precious girl, she sobbed. We've missed you so much. Dad helped with our luggage while Mom fussed over Zara. Later, I quietly told my parents what had happened. Mom was furious while Dad listened silently, his jaw tight with anger. How dare she treat our Zara that way, Mom fumed. That evening, as we sat on my parents' patio watching the sunset, Zara playing with their dog, Dad put his hand on my shoulder. You handled that well, he said. Standing up for Zara without losing your cool. I'm proud of you. I just did what any parent would do, I replied. Dad shook his head. Not everyone would have stayed so calm. You taught Zara an important lesson, that she deserves respect, and that it's important to stand up for yourself. That night as I tucked Zara into bed, she asked me a question. Dad, do you think that lady will learn to be nicer now? I sat on the edge of her bed. I hope so, sweetie. Sometimes people need consequences before they can change. I'm not even mad at her anymore, Zara said. Maybe she was just having a really bad day. I was amazed by my daughter's forgiveness. That's very kind of you. But still, she shouldn't have treated you that way. Zara nodded. I know. But I hope she learns to be nicer. Our vacation was wonderful. We visited famous places, ate great food, and my parents spoiled Zara endlessly. When it was time to go home, we were upgraded to first class as promised. The flight attendants were very attentive. As our plane took off, Zara looked out the window. Dad, she said, I'm glad we didn't let that mean lady stop us. This was the best trip ever. I squeezed her hand. Me too, sweetie. What started as an upsetting experience had become an important lesson. That while there will always be unkind people, there are many more who are good. And sometimes standing up for what's right makes a real difference. As for Patricia, I heard she had received many complaints over the years. Our experience was the final straw. I felt no joy in her losing her job, only hope that she might learn from it. Later, Zara's story inspired me to become an advocate for people with disabilities. I started a blog sharing our experiences. It gained a large following and I was invited to speak at events. Zara, now older, often joins me at these talks sharing her wisdom. She never speaks with anger about what happened, only with hope that sharing her story might help create a world where everyone is treated with kindness, regardless of their abilities. And that, I think, is the greatest revenge, not that someone lost their job, but that their actions inspired positive change that will help others. As Zara often says, the best way to deal with meanness is to spread more kindness. And that's what we're doing, one story at a time.